and welcome back to another episode of Reality Hub. And what a cool show today is. We have an episode that we recorded in the can a few months ago, so you'll notice that it sounds a little different when the episode begins playing. It's with our first guest, Marwin Silerio, personal trainer at Les Mills, actor, and just an all-round really nice guy with a lot of cool insights about life. Rob, what do you remember about the show?
I remember this one well because it was so much fun, and there was so much energy in the studio, so I hope you'll feel that and hear that when you listen to it. And I just want to thank Marwin for coming along with us on our journey here at Reality Hub and being the first guest. So thank you for that, Marwin.
Yeah, thanks, Marwin. So remember, as you listen to this, it was a few months ago, so we have called Marwin earlier today, and we've put an update on what he's been up to and his activities as an actor so that you can follow him in that regard, and that'll be at the end of the show. So please welcome Marwin Silerio. And it's another episode of Reality Hub. How you going, Rob?
I'm going really well, Stephen.
So it's a bit of a surprise to our audience tonight, but we've got a special guest in.
We do indeed.
As part of a series of mindset discussions that we're having, we've got a special guest. He's a friend of mine and a really good guy. His name's Marwin Silerio. Sorry, I just had to
it's such a cool
use
name.
my music.
Silerio.
Yeah, it's hard to define. Hi, I'm Marwin Silerio. How you doing, Marwin? Say something, buddy.
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Well, I've never used this button before, but I want to try it. That's to welcome you to the show.
Awesome.
What was that?
I was like, is that a clap or is that a waterfall?
That's the applause button.
I was thinking the same thing. I thought that was... What are we going into? Some meditative waterfall thing?
Yeah, it does sound like a waterfall, doesn't it? Yeah.
It did. But yeah.
Which reminds me of Changi Airport. Apparently they've got a waterfall now.
Changi,
where is...
Come on, Singapore.
Singapore, okay.
Yeah, shout out to our Singapore listeners. So, Marwin, you're an actor and also a PT.
That's
at
right.
Les Mills.
That's
and
right.
You're bloody good at what you do. You're in amazing shape, and a bit like Rob. And I admire the way you conduct yourself, and I'm really pleased that you could come on the show today.
Man, I'm happy to be here, bro. As soon as you invited me, I was like, yo, I've got to come. I was supposed to be teed up here like a couple of weeks ago. I was telling Rob as he walked up. And
get that mic nice and close to your face, buddy.
Is that better?
Yeah, I think that's better. Yeah,
perfect. Yeah, I was gutted that I couldn't be here, but here we are now. Thank you for having me.
Oh, that's good. It all worked out. We had a rest, actually, didn't we, Rob?
We did, yeah. I mean, life sometimes gets in the way, as it does.
Yeah.
That's the reality and the nature of being human. But we're back. I'm really excited, man. We were just talking before we went on air, and we've got a lot in common. So I think this is going to be a really cool podcast.
I'm looking forward to it.
And hopefully we can, go deep but we'll see where, go off on tangents like we normally do.
Yeah. Well, so Reality Hub's a podcast where we can talk shit, but we can also, talk woo-woo. I mean, really sort of some weird concepts or some spiritual ideas and energy and that kind of thing. But we work hard to avoid the new age religion and mind programs and viruses that you come to realize in your life actually have controlled you. I mean, before we came in today, we were talking about religions that we were born into. Do you want to say something about that, Rob? Because that was really interesting what you guys were talking about.
Yeah. I mean, I was never brought up with any particular religion. It wasn't forced upon me. I wasn't. I didn't. What do you call it? Just grow up with it, or just trying to think of the right word before.
Well, you didn't opt in. You didn't go, oh, that's something I want to do, and jump in. But you weren't born into a family doing it.
Into a particular religion. So you had no choice, Like if you were born into a particular family that were very religious, then it sort of means that you're going to grow up in that environment, and you're automatically going to be in that religion, right? But if it doesn't sit well with you, we were talking before how you were saying it was slightly off. That how do you move away from that and kind of recover your own sense of sovereignty and power and move beyond the ideologically, the programming that you were brought up with, right?
Yeah, right.
And don't get us wrong, there are people who are well into religions who are free thinkers, but they choose to be part of a religion, and, you know, that's fine. I think it's interesting because this idea of pre-programming is a little bit like you identify with being a Republican or a Democrat, for example, because, you know, that's the way your family is and that's how you think. And it's hard for a while to break out of that because you are given reinforcement by your surroundings to sort of say, if you believe this, we will give you more love. If you hold this belief, we'll support. Yeah, that's right. I mean, this is probably how we get people who are incredibly racist, is they're given support by people around them to keep thinking those thoughts. You know, maybe they're really toxic thoughts.
Yeah, good point. I was talking to a friend actually the other day how some people are lost and they kind of need a roadmap. They need a set of guidelines and rules because, you know, the world can be a flippin' scary place. You know, you can feel lost, or you might have this void within you and you want to fill that with something. So if someone presents an ideology or religion, say, well, we're going to give you all this, this support, this way of thinking, and it's all set out for you, then you don't need to really think anymore because this is right and this is wrong. It's very clear cut, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's either black or white.
Yeah. When the thing that I question about is that, like, because I was born into a religion, I already had these thoughts of, you know, a higher thing, an idea, you know, this ideology outside of me. When you're not born into a religion, how do you welcome spirituality? I call it seeking the truth. There was always a part of me that wanted to understand why people either did the things they did, but I always wanted to find a deeper meaning of our human experience. Right.
Question. So I was very much self-taught. So I did align myself. I did fall into the new age way of thinking because it's alluring. It's like, heck, you know, I fell for.
It's fucking awesome.
It's awesome.
There's ghosts.
Yeah,
there's
what is this new age? What's this new age?
New age is a
how do you
roller
define
coaster
this?
ride at a theme park. New age is like time stones and infinity stones. New age is I point a crystal at you and dissolve you. New age is just this fantasy of fucking amazing shit. And I lock, stock, and barrel, man. I was, this is awesome. And then I went, what the fuck am I doing?
So New Age isn't like, you know, the rocks and the moons and stuff like
it's
that?
All of it,
it's
man.
all that,
it's
man.
all of it.
It's getting
I
your
was trying to figure it
traffic
out.
lights to go green as you drive up to them.
Yeah,
it's
getting
getting
law
your
of attraction. It's ascension.
Yeah,
it's getting
okay.
your spirit guides to get parks for you at university.
It's synchronicity. It's all those things, these words that people throw around.
Yeah.
But there's always this way, the system. There's always this new book. There's this new path that you can take to reach.
Yeah.
Oh, and
As
by
you say-
extension of that, it's the secret,
Bro,
You know, and it's my vision
yeah.
board. You know, and,
Yeah.
and it's a picture of girls in bikinis and Lamborghinis. Oh, it's all going to manifest.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. When I came to Auckland at 19, 20 years old, and finally came away from the church, my friends introduced me to The Secret, right?
Yeah,
and
right.
the Law of Attraction.
Was that the
Right.
book?
The Secret was the book, yeah.
And then the DVD, etc.
That's right. And they also introduced me to the law of attraction. And the thing that didn't sit with me well about religion was that I have felt like I had no accountability, that I always thank God for the winnings and all. And
Oh, you have to, yeah.
yeah,
thing, yeah.
you know.
All
And
right, so nothing you did that was good was because of
nothing
you.
that I did, yes, and that's what didn't sit well with me.
Right.
You know,
I
and
think-
also my losses. I just felt like, this didn't work out because God.
Yeah,
You know?
you're handing your power, you're handing your power over to something else,
Yeah.
something outside of you, and also your success, and it's all your blessings and
All the
and
losses.
You've got to be careful because you when you do that, you are handing. You're handing something. You're who you are. You're distracting yourself from going within and finding the truth to something outside yourself.
100%.
As a sort of a simple way of putting it, but I mean, you've got everyone's at different parts of their journey, and sometimes you got to go through a process or stages to get to the next evolution. But for me, the new cage
We call it the New Cage, Marwin.
Or the New Age.
Because it's a New Age religion, but we it's our little joke. Plus, it was coined by George Kavisilas as the New Cage religion.
Yeah.
Because people talk about finding themselves in their true self, and they turn to the New Age as the alternative to religion, and really it's just a new cage, like the old cage.
I like that.
And instead of praying to Jesus, you find yourself talking to Archangel Michael or the parking fairies or something like that.
Yeah.
And you're really just in another system, and it's another cage. Anyway, that's kind of our context view, because you might not go, what
I
are
get
this
it.
guy's talking about?
I get it. I
Yeah,
get
yeah.
it. I
And
get it.
the other term that gets thrown around a lot is awakening. The awakening.
Yeah,
right?
from the Matrix.
You heard that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Woke, being woke.
being woke. Yeah.
Hashtag woke, right?
Yeah. And what
Yeah.
does that actually mean? What are you awakening to?
Yeah.
To take a literal term, right? There's this new awakening that's sweeping the planet. People are becoming more awake. Well, what are they waking up? Because it sort of says that you were kind of either sleeping or you were unconscious, and then you're suddenly realizing or waking up to something. So what do you guys think? I have my theory on what awakening is, but...
Well, for some reason, when you say that, it reminds me of that old saying that we've talked about, which is so many people, it's not a saying, sorry, but so many people try to have a life which is spiritual. And I remind them, you don't need to, because you're a spiritual being having a physical experience. Your physical experience is your spiritual experience that you, if you choose to believe, as I do, but hey, I respect if you don't, that you are an infinite point of consciousness experiencing life in the vessel that you're currently in.
Yeah.
Which is similar to kind of reincarnation and that sort of concept. But, if that is true, then you are a spiritual being, a never-ending point of existence, something that never at one point didn't exist. You've always existed. You were not created by something, so you don't get to hand over, your responsibility to another being, to a god. You are equal to all things in the universe that could be considered creator beings. You are a creator being, and you live in this existence to practice creating this existence. And you chose to be here. So, you're a spiritual being having a physical experience. You got to take responsibility for your life.
As if we're all the same, like we're all one?
That's a good question. Are we all
it's
one?
a really good question. Yeah, I mean...
I think on some level we are.
Yeah. I think that's been misinterpreted as well.
In what way?
Really?
Yeah. In other words, one means... This is my take on it, that I get what people are saying by one in terms of from a sort of energetic consciousness field, if you like, but we're all unique and we're all very different at the same time. So one is not the same, but we're all having an experience in the universe, the one in this sort of ecosystem or environment. But as you were saying, we're different points of experience or consciousness having that experience, all you having different unique experiences, right? Because one means we've all got to be the same, uniform. You're either male or you're female, or you're either black or you're white, which is not how this reality works, right?
Well, that's back to identity again, isn't it?
Yeah. So,
But it's all
I think
important because that's an identity you've chosen to have in this lifetime. So the way I look at it is you are you're unique and you're an individual, but you're linked to all the other individuals
on some level, right?
on the most inner level.
Yeah, the most core. I get that. And I think the only difference is the experiences that we have, right?
Yeah. So you're just viewing the world through your unique experience, and so am I, and so are you, Stephen, and so is the 7.5 other billion people, and all the other living things having that particular experience. And they're different, I guess you could say, levels of experience or levels of consciousness, want of a better word, because I know I've experienced moments of peak spiritual experiences, if I can put it that way. Moments where I've felt more in tune, more alive, more connected to the universe. And I don't know, have you had experiences like that, or Marwin?
Yeah, I have,
like a
actually.
peak experience.
I keep having synchronicities, which I've talked about before. Things where I'm seeing, watching, or thinking about something, and it literally appears in front of me in a similar form or example. I'm sitting there thinking about. I'm just going to use a weird example. Maybe I'm thinking about a door, and lo and behold, a sign about doors just is there on the street. You know, come and get new doors from Doors R Us. It's like. This is weird. And when
You're
when
tuning into something.
When stuff like that happens to me, I always think, oh, okay, I'm in the right place at the right time wherever I'm at.
Yeah, 100%.
Or I hear about someone talk about it on the radio. Or I go past, or I just drive past Door Street and go, fuck that.
But have you had a big, you know how there's, throughout your life you have peaks and troughs, right? Periods where you're in flow, things are happening for you seemingly, and then other times where it seems like life is hard work, you're walking through the mud kind of thing, Have you had big peak experiences? I know I've had a couple. What do you mean by peak experiences? Where
everything is going well for you?
Yeah, or where your reality shifts to a point where you it's really hard to explain. I think the one I had in 98 was very profound, where I felt like my reality had shifted and I was no longer, I felt like a character in a movie, and there were all these things happening, but I was very aware of it, but I had no control over it. It's very hard to explain. But what I'm getting at is a moment, like a lot of...
that sounds like an out-of-body experience where you're watching your life.
See, it's so hard to explain, but it's almost like an epiphany, a moment of realization and clarity, like a peak experience where you go, aha, and fill in the blank. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. Yeah, something momentous that shifts your whole world. George Kavisilas reintegrated to his soul, it's massive. Where he got connected to the universe, right? That's a huge thing. A guy like Eckhart Tolle shifted from a depressed state, and then you suddenly could witness his thoughts and started writing The Power of Now. Things like that, where there's such a shift that you go, oh, a paradigm shift.
So those are really dramatic examples.
Yeah, I know, because I like to...
Yeah, no, because we love drama.
Yeah.
No, you're going to say a bit like what?
A bit like a fish in the water that doesn't know it's in the water, but that suddenly figures out it's in the water and goes, oh. That's a momentous, and it's like a human being transcending this reality and going, oh, there's something more.
Yeah, because the fish...
There is something more.
The fish at the deepest, darkest, bottomest of the ocean are not aware of the water.
Possibly.
They don't know the water exists.
Yeah.
That's just their reality.
Yeah.
They've not seen anything different.
They've not seen anything different,
Yeah.
So there are different realities even in our reality.
I think of the things you're talking about as moments of, I'm not going to take this shit anymore. I'm not going to live this way any longer.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
be more practical and less ethereal or... Yeah.
Or I'm not going to feel this way anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something about it.
Yeah.
This isn't going to have a control over me anymore. And this is why I wanted Marwin on the show, because in the experience of a PT, a physical trainer, and rather a successful one, this must be coming to you in the form of clients all the time.
Yeah, all the time. I mean, if to speak on that context, I mean, I remember coming out from a breakup and I was like definitely depressed for like a good year and a half, you know what I mean? And I was
know
like,
the feeling.
And I was like, far out. How do I
join the club?
How do I get out of this? And I knew. I always had that feeling in my gut that everything does happen for a reason, right? I just needed to find the lesson that was in it. Yeah, goddamn.
Because if you don't find the lesson that's in it, then it's just all
you're
a
in a
terrible
spiral.
thing for nothing.
Yeah. And I knew life wasn't meant to be in despair. You know, I had ups and downs, and I knew that what goes up must come down, and what goes down must come up. Can't go any lower than that, right? And the word that always came coming back to me was always accountability. I've always got to be accountable for what I'm feeling and what I want, right?
Can I ask you, what did you learn from that experience? Was there a gem, like a pearl of wisdom that came from that process and going through the grieving and the healing and the introspection and the contemplation? Yeah, up in there.
So that's what you were doing.
Yeah.
Well, at least you're dealing with your emotions, bro.
Yeah.
Good on you.
The habits of my ego.
Of your ego?
Habits of your ego.
The habits of my ego.
Yeah, cool. Let's talk about that.
I thought you were
ego.
going to talk about people going to the gym. Fuck, this is great.
I lost 2 girls that I definitely could have got married to. Definitely.
Wow.
But I think life...
Did they express
back
that to you, or were you thinking you
Yeah.
could marry them, or would they
No,
go,
both.
I'll marry you
Man,
too?
we fitted so well.
All
We
right, so
fitted
you weren't
well.
delusional.
I wasn't delusional. No way. No, I
Was
wasn't
this
delusional.
what sort of time frame? 2 girls? We're talking.
So one
Not
was
2 girls
between-
at the same time.
Not at the same time. No.
I
Sorry.
lost 2 girls at the same time.
No,
There's
not
one-
at the same time. So one
Mormonism allows for that.
I had a phase for I think we dated for about a year and a half, and that was deep. We lived together and everything.
Yeah.
And then I had a
Yeah.
year break. Oh no, it wasn't even a year break, an 8-month break, and then I got into another relationship for a good 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
these girls really filled the void
Yeah.
in my life, but due to issues in my own ego, not being able to put aside my own selfishness, I lost them.
So were they good enough for you?
100%. 100%.
So it's not like you viewed them as, oh, these girls like me and I am enjoying this relationship, but I don't know if I want to commit and get married. You actually did think you could go there.
100%. Yeah, especially with the last one. 100%.
So, well, do you want to tell us why that didn't eventuate for you?
I couldn't.
It's tough, man.
It's
Talking
tough,
about
man.
It is-
relationships,
I find it
fucking hard.
I find, in terms of, if you think of your life, the 2 major life challenges in my life are relationships,
Yeah.
right?
That's what I learned the most
And
from.
I think for most
tango
humans,
dancing. Oh no, that's relationships.
Yeah.
Because relationships are a tango.
I mean, and not just relationships with another human being, also the relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's always been a constant, huge learning, and that's why I'm really interested in what you have to say, because I know I wrestle with it all the time, and I have my times where I go into the depths of darkness, and then other times where I pull myself out and go, no, I'll put that to one side. But I know that it's going to come up again for me. So, I hear what you're saying. I think our audience as well, if they've gone through any turbulence and
I mean, if you're
relationship
human,
difficulty, you will.
Shout out to the AI and the robots listening. But if you're human, you'll know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It takes you to the core, right?
Takes you to the
You
core.
brought up that word ego. Sometimes the ego gets in the way of what's right for us because it wants to protect itself. It's scared, it's afraid, it's all those things, right?
Yeah, and I didn't get to see what my ego actually was until it had all been said and done.
Can you give us an example?
So let's go right back to what you said. It was ego habits. So what does that mean?
When I was young, ever since high school, I always had this insecurity that I was dumb, right, and that I wasn't ever good enough. Right, that was the essence of
I
it.
had that, never
Not
good
good
enough,
enough.
yeah.
Not good enough.
I really was dumb at school. My brain seriously didn't develop until I left. I couldn't get better than a C or a B.
You know, I ask myself that.
Don't even
Maybe
give me
did
too
I
much
not
school.
develop as well, or was I just so insecure that I didn't have the ability to?
Where did that come from?
speak.
Do you know where that came from?
Yeah, like you
That
could have been
stemmed
like
from?
me, just your body was more concerned with producing hormones for puberty. And then later they went, oh, we better focus on the brain. No, I'm kidding, Marwin. You're an intelligent guy.
Schools were a prison anyway. We'll talk about that
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, they're totally
Yeah.
prison.
But yeah,
Where did it
you
come
weren't
from?
good enough, and you're dumb. Do you know where that originated from?
For sure.
'Cause
I
don't
can't-
think-
that's
don't think
programming,
I
right?
don't think that's
Yeah.
your voice telling.
Yeah, I came.
Nice one, Rob.
I came to New Zealand when I was 5 years old, and my mother drilled English into me, right? The way she drilled it was that she had a hammer to my hand, and if I didn't get the sentence right, she would pretend.
Like an actual hammer.
An actual hammer on the kitchen
Seriously,
floor.
my jaw just dropped.
In the Philippines. Yeah.
Far out, buddy.
Mate, I remember hitting my mother up about that and she denied it. And I was like, Mum, this is traumatic.
denied it.
This is traumatic. I remember this shit.
You've got
That is
PTSD. You're
traumatic.
seeing a counselor about this sort
Yeah,
of thing.
you know
This
what I
is
mean?
sort of,
I get it. She was doing out of survival, right? We're moving to a
And,
new
you know,
place.
I do get that.
Well, like
aspect
for
of it.
her, this is
But-
really important. You
It's
succeed.
super important,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So anyway, she drilled English into me. I came into year 1 primary. What is it? Yeah, primary?
I
Here
don't
in
know,
New
it
Zealand?
was so
Well,
long
how
ago.
old were you, bro?
5 years old.
All right, yeah, call it year
My
one.
English was so good that I had to get put up. And then all of a sudden, I was more concerned about, because I got bullied, right? In primary.
Oh, because
I was
now you're
more
the youngest kid in the next
Yeah,
class
I was
up.
more concerned about trying to make friends in a new country
Yeah.
that I stopped
That would've been
studying.
tough.
Super tough.
Super tough.
Bro, I
Ooh.
remember trying to play line tag and they were like, you can't play. And I was like, oh, I can't play?
Oh, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
So I stopped studying, and then all of a sudden I got put down. And then that, and I will always remember that,
Right.
that was when I developed that
See, that's
thought
the
pattern
thing,
that I
man.
wasn't good
That's
enough.
the thing where you're not smart enough all of a
Yeah.
sudden.
I'm not smart enough
Well,
now.
like, and to be
And-
fair, you had been
And
pushed
also-
into an advanced level that you actually
That I wasn't ready for.
you weren't ready for.
And also, at the same time, I was pushed into people don't like me. I've got to impress.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They didn't want to hang out with me. So why is that?
And so then when you realize that later in life, you go, look at all the things I've done in my life to impress people.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, I read this book, The Courage to Be Disliked, just recently.
Cool.
And
Cool
that is-
title.
that is some
This light, the courage to be this light.
disliked.
Oh, disliked.
Yeah, crazy.
You've never had problems with that, bro.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting that you say that because I feel
Because you're
like
really
courage-
genuine. You're really genuine.
I feel recently I've been most genuine.
Okay.
Recently, it's been life for me, and definitely my late 20s has been a lesson of trying to unlearn everything that I thought I knew.
Well said.
Yeah, we all want to be liked, eh? We all try to fit into the pattern because like being likable is possibly one of the reasons we survive as a species. Possibly one of the reasons we get by in life because social interactions
It's
are important
the way,
for survival.
It's the way the world's set up, right? The
Yeah.
system is set up that's the way it operates. And there are certain, I think, conditions, right, that you've got to adhere to and follow in order to be liked. You've got to wear the right clothes or align yourself to certain labels and stuff. Just you can't get rid of that. You can't deprogram from
yeah.
it almost.
I remember
'cause
when
you're
I
immersed
was
in it.
when I was a late teenager at high school. Man, the stonewashed jeans, they were really, and 501s, they were really important.
Cultural programming, societal
Doc
programming.
Martens,
Yeah.
had to have
It's just
those.
the way it is, and you know no better at certain ages, right?
I think at the
Or
core, we're
level.
always going to be a part of
Yeah, 'cause you
a
are.
community, right? Because that's what
Yeah.
we are, I
Yeah.
think, as beings.
We wanna
We're-
fit in,
We're
we
there
wanna belong,
socially. But there's a difference between the essence of being a part of community and then jumping onto trends. You know,
Yeah.
wearing
Or-
those washed out jeans.
You know what I bring it down to? I go, what's the intention? And this is where I go deeper
Great
into the
word.
social media world, where I go, why are you sharing what you're sharing? What's the real intention? If it's to fill a void, if it's to impress, if it's to make you look good, if it's to show that I am successful, then it's not a very healthy intention, right?
I fucking love that you just brought that up. In
What's-
the fitness world and on Instagram right now,
Yeah.
there's a lot of ass, topless
there?
off, tops off,
Yeah.
people showing their abs out, right?
Right.
And they love to promote mental health. But
Yep,
they're
I've
they're in tops off,
But
looking
only
good,
mental
fully
health when you're in
photoshopped.
amazing shape.
Yeah.
Exactly, you know what I mean? And it doesn't sit
And-
well with me, and I've always wondered what the fuck that is, right?
You know what it is?
because, What is it?
I think I know what it is. It's incongruency. It's misalignment. So you're saying one thing, but you're doing the exact opposite.
I love that.
Playing thinks and
100%.
says.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
and I know it because I've played it. I've played that game.
Me too. Me too.
And I know where you sit because it's ingenuine. It's a big word.
Right.
Stephen?
Ingenuous.
Ingenuous.
Hi, I'm here for your big words. No, it is a game
Yeah.
of thinks and says.
He
Thinks
cuts
you're an
straight through to
arsehole,
it.
but says, you're my best buddy.
yeah.
Because the platform, Instagram, Facebook, inherently is not good or bad. It's what you do with it. But I know exactly what you're saying there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not dissing those people because maybe it's their journey to figure that out, to go, actually...
100%. Yeah, I get
It's
that.
funny you pick up on that because I pick up on that as well. But that comes down to what you focus on and all those things as well.
Exactly.
So I'm really keen to know, Marwin. I mean, finish what you were saying, but I'm really keen to know from your perspective as a personal trainer, where do you see this playing out with clients?
Which part exactly?
Well, self-belief, coming to a point where they won't take it anymore and the way they have lived or the way they have felt, or changing and breaking habits?
First of all, you've got to want to do it. And if that is that what you're trying to get at?
Let me put it another way.
Yeah, please.
When people really succeed
In what?
At losing weight,
Yep. So let's
getting
say
fit,
Yeah.
maybe making real changes in their life, which using a personal trainer is going to be important to.
Yep.
What's a key defining factor that you see the people succeeding doing in terms of the mental gymnastics
common
and changing them?
denominator,
Is there a common thing that every time you see the person do XYZ, you know they're going to succeed because they've gotten past the hurdle or the thing or the whatever?
Would it be different for everyone?
That is,
Different strokes for different folks?
I think that is why I'm struggling to answer this question.
Yeah.
Because everything is contextual.
Ooh,
Everything
I like
is
that word.
contextual.
Yeah.
Contextual. Yeah, it's true. Well, you got to
Give me an example, man. Tell us a story of someone.
Like-
Don't use names.
Yeah. Like, for example, man, a client's goals could be sleeping 7 hours for the next week. That is goal done. For someone, it's not having any fast food for the week,
Coming from a fitness background,
I never thought about sleep, hey?
When
That's
I was a
interesting.
member, sleep's huge, man.
Yeah, but I didn't think that would be someone that'd be the first one out of the gate, out of your face hole.
but
bro.
then that's a big thing.
Yeah.
over exercise, nutrition, and sleep.
It's how because health is wellness. It's also it's rest, it's recovery, it's your sleep. It's the fundamentals.
Yeah, well, I saw a thing recently that said if the first thing you want to do if you want to start losing weight is nail your sleep, because you just get your metabolism in order naturally.
Stress comes down.
There's a whole bunch
Stress
of things
comes
going on.
down when you're
Stress
sleeping.
yeah.
Sleep is the body's natural way of.
But I never thought
dealing
that'd
with
be the
a lot
first
of
one out
things.
of the gate for
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But what I was going to say
Fascinating.
is
Yeah.
when I was in the fitness industry, when I was a membership advisor, the first thing I would ask someone is, what brought you in today? And it's always a different reason.
Did they say a car?
A car?
Yeah, I came here by car. I'm kidding.
Oh, dude, I only just got that. But it might be, well, I'm getting married in 7 months.
Yeah.
You're
I wanna look good.
right.
That's
yeah.
a huge one.
Yeah.
My doctor, that was a big one. My doctor told me I'm suffering from cardiac, whatever the ailment. I got to start getting in shape.
Yeah.
Boom. And you've got them because you go and you play. There was a sales thing. You play on that emotion. Wow. Okay. You've got something to work. But what got you in the door?
You've got a why.
You came in here for a reason. I want to know the why. And as you say, everyone's got a different reason, and so that's
Everyone's got a different why.
yeah. And then when you've got when it becomes personal, then it becomes a bit. It becomes easier, I think, to
100%. I think
Yes.
everyone that comes
Motivated.
in the gym, especially with the clients that I have, it's always because they come out of pain. Right?
Really?
They're always in pain.
Emotional pain?
Emotional pain,
It's
physical pain.
polarities of life. Yep. Pain or pleasure.
They always come in pain. No one comes into and hires a personal trainer because
Because life is great.
Because life is great. Exactly.
Do you find
Exactly.
it's a bit of a counselling session as well? Some people,
More than often. Yeah. More than often.
yeah,
Yeah.
become a-
And
a counsellor.
that helped me in my own professional development. I had to actually find myself to be able to give answers or
Yeah.
contribute to the conversations that
Yeah.
these people were having.
Yeah, because you it's a personal relationship.
Yeah.
For that hour or however long that session is, you get to know that person. Sometimes you're the confidant. Their relationships and shit.
Yeah.
Marwin, like this, and then they just need to express that. And
Yeah. And often, especially in my first year as a young boy, I used to be like, especially when you had like 50-year-old plus telling you about their
Yeah.
own work issues and stuff like that. And me's just sitting there like, I cannot relate. Or or let alone, it's not that I couldn't relate, it's that I couldn't bring any context of my life and connect those dots together.
Sometimes it's just enough to listen, though. You don't need to really come up with
100%.
magical cures and answers. It's just they need someone to offload.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Sometimes I've thought that I've been hired as a friend. You know?
Yeah. I mean,
Because
everyone's
of that
got
nice
their own
smile
reason.
you've got. I'd hire you as a friend, bro.
Can I ask you why you got into personal training? Was that something to do with self-worth and feeling like that's going to help?
To be honest, at the time, I finished drama school and I knew that acting wasn't going to pay the bills. Right. And
so fitness was a passion.
Fitness was a passion. And someone also told me that you can get paid $1 a minute. And I was like, what?
That's $60 an hour.
Is it?
I was like, what? I've always been on.
It is. I'm pretty sure there's 60 minutes in an hour.
I've always was like, I'm on minimum wage. But now that I reflect on it as a 27-year-old. The reason why I did personal training as well as acting was that, I've been real sensitive to energy, and I think I'm workable with people.
You're on the right show.
And I always knew how to get attention and to also give attention. Right. And I think those three have been the major attributes in my career as an actor and my career in personal training.
Right.
Because I knew that I like acting, but it's not something that I would knock on someone's producer's door, please give me a role.
When you say
you meet people like that, though, eh? There are people like that, and that's just not me or you.
There are people who do or die for acting. I am not do or die for acting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It comes back down to intention. Is it coming from a desperate place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I finished drama school, I remember my class used to trip out and be like, oh my God, I'm not going to get a role and shit like that, And I thought that acting wasn't for me because I didn't want it as bad as them. So I had to ask myself within, why do I like acting then? Because I'm not like that. I don't want it that bad. Should I be doing this then? Yeah. So what is it that brings me towards this activity? You know? And what's consistent between acting and personal training? Because I, again, like personal training, but it's not something that I gotta do it. You know what I mean? I'm not attached to it that way.
You're not attached to it. I think that's clever.
That's clever.
I think it's really smart to not be attached to it. When I hear about actors who say, well, I couldn't do anything else, that's why I'm an actor.
That's trippy to me.
How fucking useless are you?
Yeah.
Seriously, you couldn't do anything else? Are you fucking retarded?
You're narrow-mindedly in one space, right?
I mean, come on.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a whole. I think
that's attachment there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a huge attachment to identity
as well.
To
it's
ego.
An ego thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the ego,
that's the only use you have in the world is you could only ever be that, and that's a huge sort of tying in your value to that idea of who you are.
Yeah, it's an idea of who you are, who you think you are, how you want the world to see you.
What are you saying? You couldn't be a good lover, a good friend. You couldn't, help out at a homeless shelter. You certainly couldn't fill a form or a Word document because you're useless because you can only act.
Yeah, but unfortunately in this world we're attached to labels and to positions and status. Like if I ask you, hi, what's your name? You'll give you a name, what you do. It's those labels, right?
Yeah.
But if you go from the David Icke point of view, no, I am an infinite conscious being having this particular experience, right?
Yeah.
Then it's like not many people are going to answer you that. They're going to go, no, I work for blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Who are you? Tell me about you.
And
you instantly go, well, I live at this place. I was born this color. My parents are this. They're Irish and such.
That's right.
I've been part of such and such religion. You just give all these things.
And I went to this university and I trained this and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, that's I call that the matrix. The system,
attaching to an identity,
attaching to which you
circumstances
you have to in order to survive in this environment and this ecosystem, because that's the way the structure works. It's like when you're driving around the road, you can't just run red lights. You could, but probably not a good idea, right? So
what I think it's useful for? That scenario is useful for. It's good to know your genetic makeup. It might be useful to know, for example, that if I'm of a certain kind of genetic makeup, that the people in that gene pool they did really well when they ate fish, say, or they're not very good with processed carbohydrates as an ethnicity or something. You go, this is good for this vessel. I should know this, you know. But where you come from is something that people get really attached to beyond the level of usefulness, beyond of being an individual. You become part of that program. I'm a such and such, you know, so therefore I can't be doing that, because in our belief system we don't do that. Yeah. And you locked in.
But we do. I
another
mean,
cage.
it's human nature to get caught up in the fluff and in the visual, right?
Yeah. How would you, let's say, as a person who isn't aware of all of this, how would you introduce them into this, like, the Matrix, or, you know, and stuff like that? Because ideology is all good and dandy, right? But without practicality, it's just woo-woo, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it? Like, we can talk all day about this, right? But if someone
I'm showing you the door.
Matt, I'm with you.
How dare you, sir? How dare you?
I'm with you. But there has to be practical steps, because I've had these conversations with people before, and like, well, Marwin, when you meditate, well, how did you get to that? Like, what does meditation feel like? You know, stuff like that. The things that you cannot describe.
Do you meditate?
I have meditated. Yeah. But like,
Sure.
Black and white answer. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Do you see it as it something that you do regularly, or is it something you do when there's a need?
I did it when it was an absolute need, and I did it religiously, and then I find...
Did it help you get through a relationship?
Yeah.
I just knew it.
Yeah.
Because you're affected by energy and emotion, right? And I think that's why you're so fucking good and why you have such a consistent level of clients, is because you sense and feel the needs of the people that are with you.
100%.
Do people come through and do you look at them and go, today we're not doing what we were going to do? I can just see it's going to
be yes. Like, for example, I've had like, head management of banks come through my door, and they're just so stressed out, and I've had this entire strength program laid out, and their shoulders are tight. You can feel that, they're not even breathing. They're breathing to their down here, you know, and I've completely said today we're just opening your body out, relaxing those muscles so you can get more breath in and more breath out. Yeah. And man, like,
that's awesome, man. Yeah.
You know, the feedback that I get from that, it's just like, oh, thank you so much for being so in tune. But to me, when I get shit like that, I'm like, it just seems so common sense.
For you.
Yeah, you know.
For someone who thinks about the common sense.
Yeah, I get it. I know common sense is contextual, right?
Do you know what it is? Yeah. You describe that example of the banker who's in a highly stressful position, job, right? That's the Matrix in action. You are disconnected to your intuition, to what's to your body wisdom, to taking care of self, because all that energy is going to whatever they do in that position, highly stressed. But guess what? You're on 200K or whatever it is. You got a fancy house, right? So it's a trade-off. So it's an energy exchange, right? But you're the healer, right?
Right.
You're the trainer. So they come to you.
In that instance you are. Yeah.
And if you're like, I think we all share this. We're very intuitive, sensitive. You brought up that sensitive to energy. You can pick up on that, and they go, and they'll feel relaxed around you, and and that's a really cool quality, man.
Yeah.
For that hour, if they can just feel better, you talk about pain and pleasure, and they can go back to the office and just go, oh, well, at least I had 1 hour of the day where I wasn't stressed, and that's a very cool thing, and that's what I'm picking up on.
That 1 hour often see them through the next 4 or 5 days, won't it?
But I feel sorry for those sorts, because I know those people. And I go, they're so entrenched, and I call it entranced in the matrix of the system of making. And I get it, man, because but it's never been my motivation.
No,
to be very rich materialistically or financially. I was always more concerned with tuning into my being, taking care of my body, and searching for truth and answers and getting to that part of it, right?
Right.
So, and I think that's what's led me to RealityHub. It's the journey. It's the ongoing journey. The introspection.
When we made this
asking
podcast,
the right questions. Yeah,
we were thinking, what's real?
Yeah,
people need to talk about
what's real and
the why behind
analyzing
what they do.
the reality of everything. Because
The bullshit
there is a
that we do.
practicality. There is. It's definite. It's not all woo-woo. It's not all...
I
That's
agree.
the problem with
It
the
isn't
new age.
all-
They go, well, if you just follow this program...
or you have these crystals.
Yeah, then, and you're going off into la la. Well, that's not how the reality works,
Yeah.
You're dealing with
Well, there's a
practical
lot of crutches.
stuff.
There's a lot of crutches with
and
that.
disassociating.
Crystals
What's the
can
other
be
thing?
a crutch. Meditation
False
Meditation can be a
spiritual-
crutch.
Well, no. What's the thing?
I think it's the way
meditation- not so much meditation, but getting high off meditation. There's all these people who are
Distracting you
spiritually
from-
drug taking. They're going to a place to get out of themselves, even with something just like meditation, and they hand over a lot of energy to that entity, that force, that belief system, instead of finding it within themselves to feel better, just without having to. Like taking light into their chakras to illuminate their being. Just find it within yourself. You don't need it to come from Archangel Woo Woo.
Yeah, because I've met people that have channeled messages from Archangel Michael is a big one, and I've had full-on one-on-one conversation. I've been asked to join groups that channel, and it never sat right with me. I said I don't need to channel into some other energy or force or whatever. I was just always curious though.
Yeah.
That people do open themselves up, obviously have the ability, so it's real for them. They see things, they talk, they hear messages, guided messages, that's a big one.
And we're not saying those things aren't
No, I'm not saying they're not
happening.
real or that they're not
real.
valid or valuable. I was just very
But
always
what are you giving your
intrigued.
energy to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I never felt the need to do that. And I haven't had that experience myself, but I always find it interesting because most people... their reality is in the five senses, right?
Right.
They navigate through the world, but anything beyond that's like, oh, that's crazy shit. Or
Yeah. Well, I mean, even with just orthodox religions, I've always found it interesting how people hand over their energy to the God matrix, to the God program, to the... I mean, what was it you were saying earlier, Marwin? Nothing in your life could ever be good because you achieved it. It was always thanks to God,
Yeah,
to the God,
thank you.
to the thing that's there to take all your energy. If God was so lovely, why does it require so much love all the time? You know, and constant praise. It's a bit of a needy God, I think.
Yeah.
I saw a video clip, and I think it's Snoop Dogg, and he goes, and he's doing this
Thank me?
acceptance,
Yeah.
acceptance speech for someone. I don't know what, but he goes, I want to thank me for this, and I want to thank me for putting, this hard work. And he just thanked, and I thought, he's got it.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Because it's all his work. It's all his, and he created
Well, at
it.
least he's honouring
Honoring
his creator self.
Yeah. And people
yeah.
are like, you can either take it, but most people, I want to thank God. I want to thank
external things.
external things. The
There's a flip side to all of this. And this is something that also people don't do, and that is take full responsibility for the things that happen to themselves.
you mentioned that
Yeah.
Real
accountability.
leaders will
Yeah.
take full
Yeah.
responsibility for everything that happens.
The good, the bad.
How
even
powerful is that?
even when it's
and most
maybe
people don't want that
out
power.
of their control.
You know?
They want to blame everything but themselves. The government, the news.
That's a huge one, isn't
Your
it?
friends, your partner, your mother, your father, the
Someone else's
boss,
fault.
the guy that works in the dairy down the road.
As long as it's not
Funny,
me.
Yeah.
Well, the minute you decide to break free of
And
programming,
it's
you
scary.
better start taking responsibility for everything in your
Yeah,
life.
because that's everything.
Yeah.
It's not non-exclusive. You can't be.
But don't be too hard on yourself. Have a philosophy that shit happens, but I'll deal with it.
Yeah, well,
That's
that
taking
comes down to
responsibility.
self-love and self-care as
yeah.
well. Because I know I've struggled with that. I can be really hard on myself, and sometimes I've got to take a few steps back and just go, hang on a minute, loosen up, let go.
Yeah.
There's that other aspect as well.
As a PT, I've come across quite often, people using self-love as an excuse to not do anything about, for example, their own health.
Really?
You know what I mean?
Because they don't love themselves, or because they love themselves that they're not going to do anything?
Well, I'm happy being this way. And that kind of shit,
So is that denial, or
I don't know. Who am I to say that?
so they're still coming to you?
They're coming, yeah. No, not even.
They're in conflict.
No, I'm just trying to
I'm
figure out
happy being fat, but it's great to pay you to make me not fat.
Yeah, that's it. Or I even see it on like Instagram, people who are clearly unhealthy and using self-love and writing like essays about it to justify,
You're writing essays about
the unhealthiness.
Times in school.
There is
But
a
anyway.
politically correct sort of class of person who will yell things like, "Well, you're just fat shaming me, and how dare you?" And therefore I'm going to accept myself as I am.
They go the other way. They go the other way.
They go really far the pendulum swings in a very different
fuck
direction.
This, I'm just going to be and celebrate.
They identify with saying, "Screw you! You're treating me badly because I'm XYZ, and I'm going to be proud." And then pride comes in the words like pride and proud of my body shape and all that sort of stuff. Okay, cool, good. But if everything's within balance, so will you be able to accept that maybe the cholesterol's a little high, the BMI's not so good, and you could be better, healthier, faster, breathe better, sleep better. But if you're going to take all these negatives where really you're not functioning so well and go, "But I'm proud of that," that's a strange distortion, isn't it?
Right. Well, we live in a distorted reality, don't we?
Yeah. We do. We do. I think on that note, we'll have a quick break so that you can pee in peace and come back in 15 seconds.
It's been a long time.
What have you got there, Rob?
Well, you've brought out some books from the basement, haven't you, or the attic?
I did. I was getting rid of some books. Well, I wasn't getting rid of them. I was storing some stuff, and then I went, "Oh yeah, we're recording RealityHub tonight. Look at that! It's the power of now."
Yeah, and funny enough, I read this. There was
Yeah, I
a
know.
point.
I love the way you went, "Oh look, I've read that one." Yeah, show
And
off.
also A New Earth, which I think was the follow-up, which I got a lot more out of it. But yeah, it's funny because I went through a phase during the New Age phase where I pretty much read every self-help book and personal growth book. I mean, in my favorite section when we had bookstores, do we still have bookstores?
Oh, they're dying probably.
Yeah.
But
No,
back
we
in-
do.
back
We
in
do.
my-
Of course we do.
Yeah, it was my favorite thing to go into a bookstore and just feel into the next book that I needed to read. Or if I couldn't afford the book, I would go to the library and I would just voraciously read and just take notes. And I learned a lot. I did.
I didn't vibe with it.
I struggled. I really struggled with that. I really struggled with
Power
that.
of Now.
Yeah, it was very woo-woo
I
for
do
me.
like Eckhart Tolle and his message. For people that haven't read it, it's The Power of Now, A Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment by Eckhart Tolle. You can easily check out who he's about on YouTube. And
So
he's very mainstream and very well known.
How new cagey is he?
That's a good question.
That means he's new cagey.
Yeah.
No, but I thought he wasn't. That's why I asked, because I thought he actually he was very much about discovering yourself without attachment to other hierarchies and rules and systems.
I got a lot of benefit from him. I would go so far as saying I would recommend his work as a path, as a way of just being present of what I call witnessing your thoughts and becoming deeper into who you really are. But you struggled with.
He's heavy going.
It's heavy. It's extremely heavy. I've read a book called The Reality Slap written by a counsellor. And it was, it gave me practical steps in order for me to diffuse to thoughts and stuff like that. And I read through the Reality Slap twice. I read through, I think, about half of that. And I found that it was the exact same thing, except the Reality Slap had practicality in it.
Yeah.
It actually had exercises and things for me to practice.
Well, sometimes, what I found when I was reading, sometimes the book's not ready for you or you're not ready for the book.
Someone said that to me because the person that gave me that, said that.
You might pick this up in a few years' time and it'll vibe with you. My gauge was always if I could pick it up and couldn't put it down or if it flowed, I needed to read it.
Yeah.
It vibed. It was I needed to get the energy or the information or whatever from it. But if you struggled, then I think it's a good sign that you're not ready to take in the information because you want to take it in.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, I've got a book here I wanted to share. Because when I was putting these books away, I
Yeah.
found this one. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right, I read this. And it's hilarious. It's called Bad Karma by David Safier. But he's a very good author because he writes it in the first person form of a female character called Kim, who's a famous German television presenter. But she's an absolute asshole. She's just terrible to her family and her husband and people around her. She's ruthless on the way to the top. And on the night of her award ceremony where she wins Television Presenter of the Year in Germany, she's hit by a falling urinal from a Russian space station. It just falls out of the sky and boom, she's dead. She wakes up.
Do they have urinals in the space station?
It may be symbolic. When shit falls on your head.
Yeah.
But she wakes up at the gates of heaven and basically learns that she's got so much bad karma she needs to atone for it. And I loved it because when I was really into New Age stuff, but I still think I'd get a lot out of it now, she goes through all these lifetimes as these creatures. But as these creatures, she can... like she's not human. She starts out as an ant, and then she moves to something else, and to something else. She becomes, at one point, a little rabbit, and slowly she moves back into the world where she created all this havoc and harm because all the creatures are around and near to where her home is, and she just wants out of the ant's nest, and she a hive, and she wants out of the next thing and the next thing, and she keeps dying, and she has these numerous lifetimes learning all these things. I found it fantastic.
So it's written in quite a comedic or funny, humorous.
Yeah, I find it really funny.
Way?
Yeah. But also it was deep. Like it's the sort of thing that was so funny, and then you'd cry and go, "Oh, that's deep." Yeah.
What was the biggest takeaway from the book? Was there something that really
accountability and the effect you have on others, your actions and the effect you have on others? Yeah, and so many people are not aware that they have an effect on others, or they're not even aware of the way their vibe pushes into people's lives and slaps them around. They just don't know. Sometimes people just don't know how harsh they are, or the opposite. What pushovers they are. They just don't know how they come across. And it's when you hold that mirror of reality up to yourself and get to self-examine, that's one of the best things you can do, I think, as a person, to learn who you are.
Yeah, I like that. What do you call it? When you hold that mirror of...
I don't know. I'm mixing metaphors there.
No, but self-reflection.
Yeah.
Marwin, what do you think of the word karma?
What goes around comes around, right? Yeah, definitely. Whatever you put out there, you will get back.
And there's science can prove that as well. I mean, if you break it down to energy, every action has an opposite reaction on some level, in some way. So it's not woo-woo stuff.
And it's a form of manifestation, isn't it? Like if you put out bad, then that's your perspective in the first place.
You shall reap or something.
And
what you put out there, you get back on some level.
Quick, someone with the Bible, help.
Yeah, but that's the profound nugget of wisdom.
No, there's a
because I believe that.
Yeah, totally. I think a thing I see a lot where friends or loved ones are having a hard time is they get caught up into a negative spiral, and they often, in my experience, need a good thing to capitalize on the momentum to then
turn the tide,
to remember that good thing, to push back into the momentum of a good direction, because you can so easily get caught up into everything is shit and just spiral negatively. Whereas if you can find a way to twist your thoughts to be grateful for something, like gratefulness is the key. And then you have a good thing happen, and then you go, well, now I'm not just being grateful for the things that I've kind of invented, like I'm so grateful I'm breathing, and it's good that I have sight, and it's good that I have a good family. Now you go, now I'm actually making things happen. Now I've moved beyond the basics to I'm spiraling in a good direction, because now I'm grateful for that goal that came true. Now I'm grateful for the fact that I'm now out of that rut and I'm heading in this way. People are starting to like me here where I used to didn't have much luck in this environment, and now things are going well, and you get onto a momentum of positivity, and that's where people for whom things are just going shit in their life, they need to turn that around. But you have to start with the basics, and get momentum from that.
I hear what you're saying. We all have peaks and troughs. We all go through seasons, good times, bad times. And I think, our nature of reality, look at a wave, the wave cannot exist without a peak and a trough. It wouldn't be a wave. When you think of music, there's got to be space in between the notes in order for that music to be created. I hear what you're saying, but I think it's also important to not... I agree you shouldn't wallow in your... misery, but I think it's important to also not try to. We've discussed this before.
Well, you got to be dealing.
You got to be
with reality.
honest. You got to be dealing,
honest
and
with yourself,
not distract and go, well, everything is amazing and great, and try and fake your way out of it. Sometimes you got to deal with the darkness and know there is the shadow self, and not. Or it's not always love and light, and actually be real about it.
Yeah, you can't secret your way out of it with a vision board.
Yeah. You got to be accountable for both sides. And I think if you're going one or the other, it's not good. But there's just polarity in life.
But I'll tell you this, though.
There's light and dark.
Lucky people think they're lucky.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. And unlucky people who say, oh, no, I'm not going to buy that ticket because I never win. Well, no shit, Sherlock, because you never buy the fucking ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we all know those people where it's like things are always going wrong. It's always a sad luck story.
Yeah.
And
right.
I mean... I don't know. Maybe sometimes that's just the way people are built, or they've got to find the lesson, or
it's that victim mentality.
Yeah, victim. I mean, I know that, and this brings up a point where you're in the business as well. You're helping people. You want them to be well and healthy. Sometimes, if you are empathetic, you have to show empathy. You can put yourself in other people's shoes, so you can feel their pain. Sometimes you can be open to people coming into your life that see that and often want you to heal them and want you to help them, and because you're a good person, you want to do it. But then you realize they've got to figure shit out for themselves.
100%.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You can lead the horse to the water.
I'm not going to give you the answers to this flipping problem, because you got to figure it out yourself. Because then it's more powerful. Then you figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's that? That's when people are hiring you as a friend.
You've got to be discerning.
You help them in a way that they don't need you as a friend.
No, I'm just saying you got to be discerning when you can see someone who's got patterns, and you've got to think,
oh, right. Yeah. Totally.
And you think, well, this is detrimental to my well-being as well. I mean, I have a good heart, and I want to help you, but you've got to help yourself.
That's right. Yeah.
And if you've got to figure sometimes, I don't know if they call that tough love, but they've got to figure out. It's like me giving you the answers to the crossword puzzle. You're not getting the benefit from figuring it out for yourself, solving the riddle or your life challenge. Doesn't mean you can't be supportive and give them, show them love and show that you care. But I just thought I'd bring that up.
No, so interesting.
It's interesting because I've had that experience, and
Yeah.
I've had to sort of step back and set a boundary and go, actually, me doing what I'm doing is causing you more harm.
That's when you're helping people and you're part of their life, right? And I've had a similar experience recently, actually, and I'm loath to mention it because you know this person and you care for this person and you help them in a way, and then because you've helped them or suggested a path, then in fact they're not responsible for that, because some people are tempted to go, oh, well, you said this would be the way to go, and it didn't work.
Yeah,
well, you take full responsibility for yourself. Yeah. Interesting.
It is.
Well, Marwin, it's been bloody good having you on the show.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, just having your energy here is one thing, but also to have pearls of wisdom drop out of your face hole is another. So thank you for that. Hey, if people want to get in touch with you for a series of workouts or life transformational goal setting, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Hit me up on Instagram. That's at MAUISILERIO. That's Marwin Silerio. And give me a DM and I'll get back at you ASAP.
Give us that Instagram address one more time.
At MAUISILERIO. Silerio.
Hey, it's Rob and Steve. We're just a few months later in the editing room, and we're listening to this back, and we've given Marwin a quick call so we can catch up with him so that this episode is up to date. Here we go. Hey, Marwin, we've got Rob here in the studio. Say hi, Rob.
Hey Marwin, how are you, mate?
I'm good, thanks, Rob. Bro, how are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good, actually. Yeah.
Wow, Marwin, just hearing the sound of your voice puts a smile on Rob's face. It's a little scary.
That's awesome. Well, me too.
Are you? It sounds like you're
mutual.
driving.
Yeah. I'm just on my way back from Whangamata.
Ooh.
Just a day away from Auckland, just to get away from the city and swim in the ocean.
Oh, beautiful. That's like my happy place. The ocean, the beach, sun's out. Whangamata is a beautiful spot as well, right?
It is a beautiful spot. I'm actually, what I learned today was that we don't actually need to go far to see beautiful beaches. I thought Piha, Mangawhai, are just as beautiful as Whangamata, if not better. So, though I do value the 2-hour drive to get away from Auckland, I now know I don't need to go that far to get the same feeling.
I agree entirely. It's the beautiful thing about this country. So we're never far from a beautiful beach. So no matter where you live, there's always an accessible beach. And if you feel like going a little bit further and trying something a bit different, then you can do that as well. So highly agree with that.
The next time Tafaranui is on my list because that's somewhere I haven't been to yet, and that's only an hour long.
Yeah. Although, one word of caution, if you go on the weekend and it's a beautiful day, traffic. It gets stuck in a major choking point is Warkworth, and just even before you hit the tunnel, when you're going up north, it's crazy, man. I tried that last summer, just going to where was I going? To Omaha. All these Aucklanders.
And there you have it, folks. RealityHub podcast bringing you live traffic updates.
Well, this is the reality of the situation, right? This is the reality. So, so just be aware of that. Plan your route. Plan ahead if you don't want to be stuck in traffic.
Do you want to give us an update on what you're up to now?
Well, what I'm up to now, I've just finished a big year of theatre acting, so I've done three projects this year. So now I'm just chilling out. I'm going to end the year just focusing on my personal training business. That one took a back seat over the last 8 months, so it needs some loving right now. And also just enjoy the Christmas. So from January, end of Jan, start of Feb, I'm going to kickstart into Morningstar again, which me and you, Stephen, have already worked on.
Morningstar Reborn.
Yeah.
Morningstar Reborn. Yeah, that's right. Morningstar. It's a great show about angels and God. So those who want to come see it, that'll be in February at the Summer Garden Festival in Hamilton.
That's right. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to that. And that's it for the meantime, man. And just enjoy the summer. Enjoy Christmas. Eat lots of food. And see the family.
Thanks, bro. Well, that's a great bit of word of wisdom and advice. And we've got some great guests coming up on the show, and we're really proud to have you as the first one. And the timing, I think, is now just perfect for a slew of guests, begun with Marwin Silerio, actor, trainer, and extraordinary friend of ours. Thanks for being on the show, Marwin.
Thanks for having me, man. Love you.
Cheers, Marwin.
Love you right back. Talk soon.
See you, Rob.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah.